4 essential tips for effective belly fat loss in menopause. Welcome, men and warriors, to my channel. My name is Kate Hartley and I share a weekly video with you every Monday related to something around menopause. So today I'm going to be diving into the 4 top tips to help make sure that you can sustainably lose the belly fat. I talk to so many women, I work with so many women. I had the same problem of increasing belly fat weight. Now, you'll probably find that you are losing weight on your legs, your bum might be getting a bit more scrawny, but it's all moving upwards. In fact, it's pretty much the only thing that does move north when everything else is moving south. And that's true, it's a bit of a pain in the bum. So today I'm going to be sharing the tips and strategies that I use, that I work with the ladies in my body confidence group, and they are going to just help you understand the whole concept, because when we dive into it, you will understand that it's not just as simple as restricting calories, which is what I did it too, so many of us are doing, and in actual fact that can be backfiring on you. So while there is a certain element of calories in versus calories out, it is not as simplistic as that. It can be really frustrating when you think you're doing all the right things, and you might actually be doing all the right things, but it's just slowing down even further. This is when consistency really does pay off. And I'm going to give you some tips at the end, which are going to help you further tweak your strategy to make sure that you are actually getting rid of those final stubborn pounds. Now, there are different parts of the body which lose weight more easily, and unfortunately around the belly, the bum, the hips, which is traditionally where the majority of us want to lose our weight, those tend to go the last. And the reason for that is we have different types of fat cells. We have alpha 1s and alpha 2s, and then we have our beta fat cells. Alpha 1s and beta respond really well when we are doing the right things. Alpha 2s are not so willing. And unfortunately, we have more alpha 2s around our belly and our hips and our bum than we do the beta and the alpha 1 fat cells. You often notice it that you lose weight around your boobs or around your chest, your face, you start to look a bit scrawny. We have more of the alpha 1s and the beta fat cells around those parts of the body. Also brown fat. Now, brown fat is it actually helps us burn calories. We have different types of fat. We have white fat, which is the fat we're trying to get rid of, and we have the brown fat, which actually is active. It's got mitochondria in it, the little powerhouses in our cells. It is an active kind of fat. So that is designed to keep us warm. We have more of that around the chest, the shoulders, down the spine, the neck. So that again is another reason why when you're starting to make a few changes, you find that you're looking more scrawny up here and nothing seems to be shifting down there. The other problem with that, of course, is proportions. So you're losing around here, which then makes this area look even bigger in comparison, even though this area might be slowly reducing. So you do have to stick with it. You have to have faith in the long-term goal. And this is when following a strategy, following a workout calendar, following a nutritional system really pays off, because you know there's no guesswork. Before I started using the system that I follow now, I was practically starving myself, feeling really miserable, and doing so much exercise, all my own stuff. I was swimming a lot, rowing a lot, I was hula hooping a lot, and then I was doing my own weighted exercises at home, and also trying to piece together various cool things that I found on YouTube. And it just did not work. I was doing way too much, and it wasn't the right amount of quality. So I will go over that in more detail at the end, but firstly I just want you to have a really good concept about why certain areas are more difficult to get rid of than others, because then it will help you dig in. If you know that you might lose up here first before you start to lose down here, you're going to think, well, this is normal because of the alpha 2s and the betas and the alpha 1s around here, and obviously the difference between the white and the brown fat cells as well. Also know that you can't really spot reduce an area. You hear of time and time again, people say to me, oh, I keep doing all these ab workouts and nothing's working. Well, in actual fact, you will be building your core muscles. So keep up with those. But you're not, just because you're using those muscles more doesn't mean to say you're going to be burning the fat there more. That's not how it works. The fat gets taken from the parts of your body to begin with that you don't want to necessarily lose on. But do focus on the areas that you are making the gains in. So you might be getting leaner arms, you might be getting more defined shoulders. And I know what it's like, you know, you look in the mirror and your eyes go directly to the bulgy bits. Oh, that's the bit I want to get rid of, and it's not shifting. Rather than actually letting your eyes go to the bits that are actually starting to look better. You know, if you've got a double chin, is that starting to get less? Are you getting firmer and more, you know, established around your shoulder areas? Can you start to see your triceps showing up? These are really important wins as well. So rather than focusing on the bits that still don't seem to be budging much, focus on the bits that actually are responding. So tip one is making sure that you are eating your macros in the right proportion. That means eating lots of vegetables and fruits. We normally follow 40% carbs, 30% healthy fats, and 30% lean protein. I tend to err more towards 40% lean protein and probably 30% carbs, 30% fat. I really am protein centric, and a lot of the ladies that I'm working with now, because as we go through menopause, just as we get older, the same applies to men as well. We just do not synthesize protein as well as we used to do. So it means that we need to be really focusing on feeding our bodies with what they need in order to build lean muscle. But because we don't synthesize protein like we used to do, we actually need to be eating more protein. So to understand how much protein you need, if you've not already, you might be thinking, oh God, here she goes, telling me again, but I'm going to tell you again, just in case you're new to my channel. So for your ideal body weight, say that is 140 pounds, you need to be eating around about 140 grams of lean protein every day. I personally, my goal is around about 140 grams. And I aim for about 150 grams of lean protein. There have been several studies showing that if you are doing weight training, strength training, so dumbbells or resistance loops or barbells in the gym, if you up your protein intake, then you see even more improved gains as far as body recomposition. So burning fat more effectively, and that sometimes results in weight loss. Sometimes it just results in body recomposition, but you look and feel incredible with it too. So make sure that you are, I mean, if you can prepare your meals at home, you're on a huge road to success. I think it can get very complicated. When people hear macros, it's a bit like the word hormones, and you just think, I'm going to run to the hills. It's far too complicated. I don't understand food labels. And I agree, they are really complicated. Don't try and do it all at once. Just focus on one thing, maybe a week. So maybe just introduce more water if you don't drink much water 1 week, and then the next week try and maybe eat more fiber. Add more veggies to your meals. I mean, every meal I try and eat. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I try and have vegetables in that. And yes, it can be a bit tricky to begin with to actually find recipes that you really enjoy. But there are, you know, instead of having like just an egg on toast, have an egg on toast with some, I can't say it, edamame, maybe, I don't know how to say that word, the edamame beans, the soya beans, or green beans. In fact, the good thing with the soya beans is the fact that they're quite high in protein. So you're getting, as well as the protein in the eggs, you're also getting the protein in those edamame beans. So, you know, just get ninja at adding a little bit of extra. It could be that instead of having butter on your toast, you have Greek yogurt. Actually, egg on top of Greek yogurt is absolutely delicious, or indeed cottage cheese. So you can become a bit ninja at adding extra sources of protein without it really sort of changing the flavor or indeed the texture of what you're eating. I am in the process of putting a booklet together, which I will share with you once I've done it. But it's a labor of love, and it's taken me rather a long time to put together. So for the moment, you know, just really focus on where you can add a bit more, add a few more vegetables, and where you can add a few protein-packed food sources too. In the description box, you will see the guide to powerful proteins. If you've not already downloaded, do download that, because it shows you how much, like a cup of chicken, how much protein you get in a cup of chicken, how much protein you get in a cup of chia seeds, yeah, etc., etc. And then if you're trying to maximize your protein intake, it's a really useful guide to have. I put it together for myself to begin with, because I was thinking, oh, okay, right, I'm focusing on my protein. How can I do it? How do I know what's got more protein than other foods? And some foods were really pleasant surprise in actual fact. And I was also surprised to learn that there's more protein in chicken per cup than there is in beef. So, you know, it is definitely worth having a quick look at it. It's not super complicated. It's got the equation in there as well for how to work out how much protein you need. And it is actually quite difficult to eat enough protein. Most of the ladies I talk to before they start doing the system that I follow are eating probably half of the required protein they ought to be eating. And it's quite a surprise. And I think we all think we're eating more than we are. Oftentimes we're not. So just, focus on increasing or adding one thing to your sort of healthy plan a week, and then you can compound those things. It can, where if you're brand new to fitness, if you're brand new to a healthy journey, it can be like, oh my God, I just don't know. That's why I just take it step by step. And water, sleep is really important. Make sure that you prioritize your sleep and prepare more meals at home than you are buying out or buying pre-prepared meals, because they're full of chemicals, they're full of not healthy stuff. Even when it says healthy stuff on the packet, you're much better off, and you'll probably save a lot of money too by preparing your own meals at home. Tip number 2 is understanding that the process is not linear at all. So depending on what your starting point is, it can take up to 6 weeks before you start to lose fat, because the body might be in a toxic state. The body doesn't like change. And so you have to be persistent and just keep plodding along, trying what you're doing, and you will then start to see results. Sometimes the weight drops off really fast at the beginning, and then all of a sudden you hit a plateau. It's just like, well, what's happened? Yeah, what's going on? I'm still doing the same thing, and all of a sudden I'm not losing weight anymore. It might be that your weight actually goes up, and that can be several factors. It might be if you're new to a workout program, even if you regularly work out, but you've changed what you're doing, which I recommend you do, because it keeps your muscles busy. It switches up what you're doing. Instead of just consistently doing heavy strength training, I'm just about to start a 20-minute workout that's a combination of pretty intense yoga, Pilates, and strength training, and very, very short HIIT training. But the results from that are incredible. And the women who've been focusing very much on strength training over the last few months, couple of years, they've got even better muscular results as a result of having done this 6-week program. If you want any details on that, I will put the link to the further information in the description box. It's called lava, like volcanic lava. So have a look at that. And if you want to, you can join in and come and do it with us. But we are seeing great results from that program. It's just 20 minutes, which is perfect over a busy summer period. So do be mindful that it is not a linear approach. It could be that if you have a salty meal, you will weigh heavier the next day because you've got fluid retention. If you've had more carbs than you would normally eat, like the rice, the bread, the pasta, that makes you hold on to fluid more. It could well be that you are building lean muscle, which is replacing the fat. And obviously lean muscle, a pound of lean muscle weighs exactly the same as a pound of lean fat, but fat takes up much more space than lean muscle does. It could be that you've not been to the toilet yet. You might have been constipated for 2 or 3 days. Well, all that backup weighs. So if you slept badly, you are likely to weigh heavier in the morning. My stomach the other day was so bloated, purely because I'd slept badly for 3 or 4 nights on the trot, and it was just solid. It was, and then I went to sleep and slept pretty well the next night, and it had gone again the next morning. It's just really weird how these things happen. So do expect sort of ebbs and flows. I tend to recommend to people, I'm not a fan of the scale, but to have a guideline. So get on the scale before you start your healthy journey or before you start a new fitness program. And then you've got that as your guideline. And then you can I would recommend weighing probably every 30 days, or if they do a 21-day program at the end of your 21 days. So you're not sort of obsessed with the scale, but you're seeing what's going on. And most importantly, take your measurements and your before photos, and probably try and get a piece of clothing on that is too tight for you at the moment. Get it up as much as you can, and then take the photo, because that is the best evidence. When you take measurements, sometimes did you take it around the full part of your bicep, or did it slip off quite a bit, or was it around the top of your full bicep and then was it at an angle underneath your tricep? So it's quite hard with measurements unless it's like directly around your waist. So it's definitely a good idea to use a piece of clothing that you can't yet get in as your guide and indicator, and that is absolutely surefire way of seeing your progress. Number 3 is to understand that weight loss does not equate fat loss. So it sort of goes back to the points I've already mentioned before to a degree. The scale is a very poor indicator of progress, and we are sort of fashioned to define our self-worth with the number on the scale, which is a complete travesty, I think. You might actually weigh heavy naturally. I weigh heavy naturally. My children do. As babies, they were really solid. They weren't fat. They weren't flabby. They were just really solid kids. And then I'd pick somebody else's child up and nearly throw them over my shoulder because mine was such solid children. Same with me. I weigh heavy. And so, you know, if I then compared myself to my friends who might weigh 10 pounds lighter than me, just like, well, am I fat? Of course I'm not fat. I'm just fit. I'm fit and healthy and strong. I have got the metabolic age of the last time I had it checked. I'm 14 or 15 years younger than I am. I'm about to turn 54 as of the date of this. So strength training really does help us create denser bones. It also helps us build lean muscle. And, you know, like I said, muscle weighs, a pound of muscle is the same as a pound of fat, but it takes up a lot less space. So another reason why the scale is such a poor indicator, because you might be losing weight, but by losing weight, if you're restricting your calories, you're not actually allowing your body to build lean muscle. And you need to build lean muscle in order to keep your metabolism boosted, because the body will metabolically adapt. So I've shared this equation again previously in the past, but I think it's really, really fun. So for instance, if you eat 2,000 calories a day, and then you either cut those by 500 or you work out more, so you're burning 500 extra. Over the course, say you lose a pound of weight a week, which is healthy, sustainable weight loss, over, can't remember exactly, but over the course of 4 years, if you weigh 200 pounds, after 4 years of losing a pound a week, you will weigh absolutely nothing. You would vanish. So it just shows that the calories in versus calories out equation just makes no sense at all. It's very much about your metabolism will adapt. It will slow down. When you start to starve it, you'll start to feel foggy. You'll start to feel irritable. You'll start to feel miserable because it's horrible when you starve yourself, but you're not giving your body what it needs. Through menopause, it's incredible. Menopause creates these changes in our bodies, obviously hormonal changes principally, but that means also that we need to change how we approach keeping ourselves healthy and lean and strong. And it is very much about, rather than thinking about the calories and the weight on the scale, it's about thinking, if you see the scale going up, but you see your measurements going down, celebrate that. Look at it as, I'm going to put on 2 pounds of lean muscle this next week and be really happy about it. So rather, you know, celebrating the 2 pounds going up on the scale rather than the 2 pounds lost on the scale. Hope that makes sense to you. But when you can really focus on fat burning over weight loss, that is when it all makes much more sense for your longevity, for your pleasure in food, and just life in general. Because as soon as you start to restrict, your energy levels fall, your body adapts, and you put it into stress. So that means that you're spiking your cortisol hormones even more. As estrogen falls, cortisol always tends to rise, one of our stress hormones, because the adrenal glands mop up the job of the ovaries. So as the ovaries go into retirement, the adrenal glands are designed to back up the job of the ovaries. Most of us are so stressed that we get these menopausal symptoms. If we had a lifestyle that was a lot less stressed, and if we managed our stress more effectively, so we looked after our health more effectively, our adrenal health would be so much better, which would mean our symptoms would be significantly reduced, because that cortisol would not be spiking as much as it tends to do these days. And when cortisol rises, it stimulates the insulin production. Well, insulin is our fat storing hormone. So it is about stress management as well. But if you're restricting and practically starving yourself, that is a stressor on the body, which is why intermittent fasting may not be working for you anymore either. It used to work for me, it doesn't work for me anymore. And in fact, the vast majority of ladies I work with, there's one that keeps saying, intermittent fasting is really working for me, but then you can see it's not. But she's absolutely dogged in her determination to keep on with it. So it's all personal choice. This is not a dogmatic thing. But if you come to me and you say, I want to burn my fat, I want to get lean, I want to build lean muscle, I want to be strong and healthy and vibrant into my latter years, I will say, focus on fat burning, build lean muscle, do the strength training, and watch your macros. Follow the system that I use, because you know exactly how many macros that you need. We don't count calories, we don't weigh our food, we use little containers, so, and you get loads of those containers throughout the course of the day. But at least you know that once you've had your 4 reds, for instance, if you're in my calorie bracket, you know that you've had all your proteins for the day, you've had your 2 yellows for the day, which are your sort of pasta-y type carb, potato type carb containers, etc., etc. There is no guesswork in it, and it gets incredible results. And something as simple as that to follow is what I would recommend you do, because I think if you get into the category of having to weigh your food, oh God, I'd rather poke my eyes out with a blunt fork. You know, it's just find a system that works for you, and then stick with it, and really stick with it, because it will not be linear. And tip 4 is to focus on quality over quantity. I think it's always tempting to sort of jump in with both feet and think, oh, I'm just going to, like in the old days, starve myself. I'm going to do more cardio. I'm going to do more strength training. I do this, that, and the other. I'm going to book myself into Zumba and spin classes and the boot camp down the road and da-di-da-di-da. And when you're piecemealing things like that, you risk injury, because you risk overdoing certain things because you're not following a specific program. Unless you sort of you work with a PT or you are a PT, you do need to follow a structured plan, because you're then working on specific body parts regularly without the risk of overdoing it. Like the nutritional system, you know, at the end of the day, have you got any of your containers left? And if you have, well, you ideally eat them. If you're under eating, one of the things that I found last month when I was working with a few ladies in my group, and a couple of them were saying, oh, but I'm not quite getting the results I thought I was going to get by this stage. And we sort of went through it all. And I have one-to-ones with all my ladies. You know, if somebody wants some extra help, we just jump on a Zoom call and we do a face-to-face, and we sort of bash it out that way. And they were actually not eating enough. They've still got it in their mind that they need to restrict. So they think, oh, I'll miss out the yellow containers, which are the sort of more, not the refined carbs, but you know, like your pasta and your couscous, your quinoa, that sort of thing. They weren't eating what they needed to eat in order to be ticking all their macronutrients at the right level for optimal energy, for optimal metabolism boosting properties. It really is important that you focus on getting the right stuff. And that includes supplements too. I do take an adaptogenic herb superfood shake. I have it every single day. It also is great for gut health, which is good for our mental health and our energy. Gut health has a huge role to play in weight loss as well. So you want to make sure you're reducing inflammation, that you've got a wide range of pre and probiotics. My superfood shake sort of sticks it all in. I don't need to take vitamin supplements or mineral supplements either, because they're all in it. And then I also do have, I take a muscle recovery drink after I've done my strength training workout. So my adaptogen herbs drink, that contains 18 grams of protein. My muscle recovery drink has got the 3 branch chain amino acids, the leucine, the flavine, and the isoleucine, which you need. Leucine, particularly out of those amino acids, there's more and more studies around it suggesting how important it is for us, helping us to build lean muscle mass. So if you are, you're menopausal or perimenopausal, postmenopausal, and you are focusing on strength training, I highly recommend getting a muscle recovery drink, because mine contains 24 grams of protein. So it's a dead easy way of getting extra protein in. It's low in sugar, or it's very low in sugar. And it's got those 3 branch chain amino acids, which are absolutely important for us helping us to build lean muscle. And you know, as I mentioned earlier, it's much more difficult for us to synthesize protein as we get older. So I'm all for doing what I can to make sure I'm getting as much protein in as possible. But I know they are high quality products. They're not the cheapest, but they're not filled with the artificial fillers and the gunk that a lot of the things are. And they're also very tasty. Some protein shakes, ugh, you smell them, it's just like, oh, it's vile. I don't know how people manage to drink those things. And quality with your workouts as well. It doesn't necessarily mean long periods of time. Like I say, we're about to kick off this 20-minute workout program. The test group has already happened and they've had the most incredible results from it. So yeah, it's proven to work. We've seen the results. All sorts of different types of body types, different age groups, different abilities of fitness have gone through this. and it is for all levels. It's the sample workout. If you get the information from the description box and you try it and you think, oh my God, that's hard. The sample workout is much harder than the first few weeks are going to be, because it's sort of, it's grabbed various moves from the entire program. It's not the best depiction of the actual full program, to be quite honest. So I just wanted to lay that out there just in case you try it, because when I did it, it's just like, holy heck, this is challenging. But the first few weeks, she builds you up so that if you are brand new to fitness or you're recovering from an injury, it's all low impact. She's building you up. But also, if you're fit, you know, if you think, no, I want something that's really going to challenge me, it will. I promise you, because we all work within our own ability envelope. You'll just do it slightly differently to somebody who's newer to fitness. I've been doing fitness for years. I will be giving it my all. And the ladies and the men that I know that have been through it already, they're fit. And they said it was challenging, but in a doable way, because she does build you up. And Elise, the lady who takes the creator of the program, she's like a hug to the heart. She's so uplifting. So in fact, one of the guys that did it, he said, I had no idea it would support my mental health as much as it did. He got great physical results, but he said, for me, it was the mental health gains that he got from it. So do focus on quality over quantity. It's so important. So a few tips and strategies. If you cold dip, because I know everybody does, or loads of people do, I used to. I can't do it in Scotland. It's just like, oh, I'm all right in the sea. Well, eventually, I scream and holler on the beach for ages. I swim with one of my sisters who's incredible, and her friends who just like all get in straight away. We were going in winter in the cold with torches. We had to have underwater torches because it's pitch black, which I love. So you have to have your torch to see the waves coming, and you really are focused more on survival than on actual the temperature of the water. Oh, I come out hoarse after those things. I don't know how people lower themselves into the sea without making this awful noise, which I do. So I live near a loch, which is very peaceful. And the thought of actually, I don't think I can get in without screaming and shouting and hollering. I don't know how the energy just comes out here. And the thought of doing it in a loch in Scotland is just like, it's even colder. Maybe one day. But if you do cold plunge and you can combine that with sauna as well, you will get the lovely flushing effect, the increased blood flow, and help target some of those sticky little alpha cells that don't want to shift the fat so easily. Quantity over quality, strength training over cardio. Cardio in small amounts is fine, but over longer terms, it's going to work at getting rid of that fat. It will probably break down. It's likely to break down the muscle that you're building, and it can increase the cortisol levels in your body, which can contribute to the belly fat too. And also, if you've got less lean muscle in your body, your metabolism slows down. So it means that you're not going to burn through your calories as fast as you would otherwise do. So just be mindful of that. You want strength training over cardio. Focus on protein, but take it step by step. So if you're brand new to all of this, I would focus on drinking more water. And then I would focus on maybe adding vegetables to every meal of your day. Then I would start to have a look at that protein guide and think, okay, how can I eat more protein? Message me if you want any help with that. Our nutritional system will make sure that you're getting enough protein in. The workout system will make sure that you're doing the right kind of workouts to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. We also have a huge mindset resource, and I'm a psychotherapist, so I can help you behind the scenes with all of that as well. Understand that you need to take rest days, whether they are active recovery rest days, so it could be like yoga or Pilates or stretching. Also, steady state cardio, going for a walk is really good. That will also help to increase the blood flow through those more tricky to lose areas. So focus, do go out for your regular walks. It's great to get out into nature in any case. Most of us should be out way more than we are. If you're not outside very often, I highly recommend a vitamin D3 supplement. In fact, ideally you have a D3 combined with a K2 supplement. I'll go into that in more detail in another episode, but that I think is the sort of creme de la creme as far as getting your D3, which has so many positive benefits for the body. Also, another tip, and this is sort of contrary to what I've been saying, is allow yourself the odd day or two off. So even if there's a wedding or there's a party, just enjoy it. People, I'm sure, will say, oh no, you should stick to your macros, and ideally if you can do, But if it means just having a day or two off, it's just like enjoy yourself. It's not going to break the bank by having a couple of splurge days. Sometimes it's enough to help you just rediscover that motivation to go back to it again. Because after you've had like a day or two of when you've not been eating and drinking very well, you really notice it. You feel like, ugh, your energy levels are awful. Probably your sleep's been badly disrupted. And I think, by the day comes, say it's a Monday arrives and you're thinking, God, I can't wait to get back to my healthy regime. But if you'd not had that break, you wouldn't have actually had that thought. You'd have thought, oh, Saturday, I've got to do this, that, and Sunday, I've got to do this, that. Whereas if you just sort of let your hair down a little bit, have some fun with it, and then we're going to have the other camp that says, you can have fun while keeping healthy. Of course you can. We're all human. Do the things that really light your fire as well. And while you do need to be focusing, particularly if you want to get great results, you need to be fairly ninja on it. The odd day or two off is not going to do you any harm in the long run. And I think it can serve to really boost your motivation for when you get started again. And finally, just stay committed to your plan. Stay consistent with it. Keep showing up, even when you don't think things are going in the way you want them to. That's why not being so closely aligned with the scale is going to benefit you, and why it's so important that you get your before photos taken. Even if you don't want to, just do them. You don't have to look at them again until you want to compare, and that piece of clothing, and get photos of you trying to get that piece of clothing on. You will be amazed at the progress that you can make. And it doesn't actually take that long. Yeah, the early days can be a bit kind of hit and miss, because depending on what your starting point is. But you can achieve literally life transforming results in a relatively short period of time. We have ladies that have, lost, oh gosh, 120 pounds in 18 months. Can you imagine how much better they feel? And it's not just 18 months ago they were that and now they're this. It's that journey and that sense of achievement, and the hope and the excitement when they start to see things going in the right direction. Because you'll be amazed at what your body can achieve. You might think, oh, I'd love to get sort of an extra 10 pounds off, but ideally I'd like to lose 30. Lose 30, why not? So long as you're not getting skinny and you're replacing it with lean muscle. But the concept is focus on building lean muscle. You will naturally burn fat more effectively that way. It'll keep you feeling happier and healthier and more energized. It'll help you balance your hormones more effectively. And I hope you found that really helpful. If there's anything that you'd like to add in the comments, please do. Have you managed to lose a significant amount of weight? Are you currently on a weight loss program? If you want any help, click the Sparkle Back form in the description box. Just fill that in. I'll be back in touch with you. Thank you so much for your company today. I hope it's been helpful to you, and I look forward to chatting with you again next week.